Well, it's almost time for the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga for the second year in a row. It's coming up this Saturday, and the best way to play the Belmont Stakes and all the races is to play through NYRA Bets. Head on over, and if you sign up before the Belmont Stakes, use that promo code Belmont25. Not only do we match up at $200 of your initial deposit, we will also give you a free $25 bet for the Belmont Stakes. And the Belmont Stakes, here's the field. We got a field of 8 in here. You've got the first 3 finishers from the Derby, as well as Rodriguez coming back, hasn't run since Wood Memorial, and Hill Road, who won the Peter Pan. It is going to be an excellent running of the Belmont Stakes and a bit of a chess match, to be honest, because as we go back to the Kentucky Derby win by Sovereignty, as well as a second-place finish by Journalism and third by Baeza, I think there's a lot of important things to note from this race. When you get a field like this in the Derby with a lot of speed, there's a fast pace, and that plays into the hands of Sovereignty. Now, I'm not saying he can't close into a more moderate pace, but it helped Sovereignty, and it potentially hurt Baeza particularly. Now, Journalism is a horse who can put himself anywhere. So fast pace, he can be farther back. Slower pace, he can be a bit closer, and he always produces his run. I think Baeza was the one who was probably the most compromised by those dynamics because they didn't want to be too forward. They ended up maybe too far back because he had some trouble in the race. So the reality is, I'm not sure who actually ran the best race in here, and who is the horse that's best suited for this Belmont Stakes. A Belmont Stakes not devoid of speed, but one that does not have the same kind of pace scenario that the Kentucky Derby had. Now, we'll have to show the Preakness because I don't know about you, I could just watch this Preakness over and over again. This was a tour de force, and this is the kind of race that sort of cements a terrific horse is even better than that. And he's shown the ability to overcome adversity. He had a bit of adversity at Santa Anita, nothing compared to this nightmare. Look at the gray on the outside Sandman, a dead closer, right? He's got a full head of steam. He goes by Journalism, and Journalism's at a dead stop, and he says, it doesn't matter. I can just run by you. He ran his last 16th in around 6 seconds. You just don't see that in the dirt. He is an exceptional horse. We're thrilled to have him here, and I believe that he's the horse to beat in this Belmont Stakes. He's not going to be my top pick, but I think he's the one you want the most out of the Triple Crown horses. I have no concerns about him coming back in 3 weeks. That's the way he's been trained, and they pointed him out. They thought we could win the Triple Crown. They didn't win the Derby, but they can win the other 2 legs. Let's take a look at Rodriguez, who's coming in here, and he potentially looked like the lone speed, and it made you kind of wonder why Sovereignty's Connections didn't look for a speed horse to run against him. Turns out there's a bit of a monkey wrench thrown to this. Now, I think Rodriguez is a Jekyll and Hyde. I believe when he's allowed to control on the front end, he can run with the best horse in the country. I believe when they try to rate him, he's somewhat ordinary. Now, the question becomes how much pace is there in here, and we'll talk about Crudo a bit later. If Crudo ends up faster than him, like the Timeform U.S. pace projectors suggest, then Rodriguez has a problem. Now, Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, they're not scared to go a little too fast early to do the best thing for their horse in a dynamic situation. So I'm not going to be surprised when Rodriguez gets an aggressive ride. The question becomes whether or not you worry he'll go too fast or whether or not you think he's necessarily good enough. Hill Road is another new player, and we have seen a number of horses over the years come out of a race in the Peter Pan to win the Belmont Stakes. Now, most of them weren't facing the big 3 from the Derby. This is an extremely tough and top-heavy Belmont Stakes. But Hill Road is an improving horse. We didn't see anybody else make up ground in this Peter Pan, and he made a significant run to get it done. It was just his second start this year, his second start for Chad Brown. And in talking to Chad Brown, he is extremely optimistic that he is ready to step up and run a big race, while acknowledging he better run a big race to be competitive with the best horses in this race. But if you think he can improve a few lengths and be competitive here, he could be the potential fly in the ointment. But the fly in Rodriguez's ointment is definitely Crudo. We'll take a look at Crudo winning the Sir Barton. Now listen, he's not fast enough. If you think Hill Road has to make up a few lengths, then Crudo's got to make up more than a few lengths. But what he has is speed. And this could be somewhat problematic for Rodriguez and helpful, particularly to Sovereignty. He's a nice horse, but he's got to get better and he's got to get faster pretty darn quickly. This was just 3 weeks ago on Preakness Day in the Sir Barton. I think that he is more of a pace player in this race than anything else. I'm sticking to Baeza in this race. I like Baeza. I think that he had trouble in the Derby. He's lightly raced. He has a lot of upside in here, and I think he's the one that can put himself in more position than some of the others to win this race depending on the pace. If it's really hot, maybe it helps the others, but I think he can be close enough to make that first move. We can stick my picks up there, and you'll see that they are 6, 7, 2, 1. I'm taking the Derby try, but in a slightly different order. Third horse on top, second horse second, third, the winner Sovereignty, I've got him third, and Hill Road is in there as well, and maybe he's the one that can upset at least one or two of these to get a piece in the Belmont Stakes. We'll see what happens. In my heart, I'm rooting for journalism. I love the fact that they ran it on 3 races, but with my wallet, I'm betting on Baeza. You know where I'll be betting it? I'll be betting it through NYRA Bets. Head on over to NYRABets.com. Use the promo code Belmont25. We'll match up to $200 of your initial deposit and give you a free $25 bet on the Belmont Stakes. Best of luck.